Luxury cars or buying real estate. Today I'm going to break down the pros and cons and tax implications of both of these things. Make sure you stay all the way until the end of this video. I'll be answering a question from one of my subscribers. Let's dive in. Luxury cars. I am someone who absolutely loves luxury cars. In fact, over the years, I've purchased a Ferrari 488 Spider, a Lamborghini Aventador SV, a Lamborghini Urus, a Porsche 911, a Porsche Cayman. I have purchased quite a few cars in my time. But here are the pros and cons of luxury vehicles in my experience. Here are the pros. They're incredibly fun. They're a great way to reward yourself for your success and your hard work. They provide an amazing driving experience. They can also help you attract new business owners and new opportunities. Let me not discredit that. The first luxury car that I got was a Porsche Cayman. Once I had the car, I started making social media content with it. I drove it to business meetings, I drove it to the gym, and just having that car alone helped to attract a lot of attention from a wide variety of people who are suddenly a lot more interested in connection with me. You see, when you drive a luxury vehicle, what you're doing is showing the world that you have reached a certain level of success, and people gravitate towards that. They start to wonder, what is this guy up to? What does he do? What does he know? How did he get that car? And my first Porsche helped him to open up a few opportunities for me, especially since I was a young tax professional. Being a young tax professional, you get judged a lot. I had so many people that judged me. They're like, dude, you're not 35, you're not 45, you're not 50, you have no gray hair, so why would I take advice from you? Pulling up to meetings in my Porsche immediately gave me a sense of credibility. People were like, okay, he's already successful enough to buy a Porsche. He obviously knows something about what he's teaching on. So I just want to let you guys know, I parked my Porsche at the valet section of Equinox, even though it was more expensive to park in the valet section, because I knew what it did for me. It showed people that I was somebody that valued how I spent my time, which was going in, getting my workout in, and coming right back out. I didn't want to have to walk all the way over to the parking structure. And more importantly, other people that valued their time in this sense would park their nice cars in the valet section. I started to get to know people by parking my car in the valet section, and some of these people ended up opening doors for me or became clients of mine. So yes, buying a car can absolutely lead to a growth in your business life, a growth in your mental capacity, your financials, but it also, more importantly, can just associate you with the right types of people, and that's what it did for me. But here are some of the cons to having some of these luxury vehicles. Guys, when I tell you they can be expensive to maintain, let me explain to you the first time I had a situation happen with one of my Porsches. So I was driving my Porsche Cayman down the road, and next thing you know, I was driving in the fast lane and something came under my car, and all of a sudden I just heard my car start rattling, and then I had smoke coming out of the back of my car. I exit out of the freeway, called a maintenance guy. The maintenance guy said, hey, we're not gonna drive this all the way home, we're gonna tow it. I towed it to Porsche. The next day, Porsche called me. They said they're going to do a diagnostic. They did a diagnostic. After all their diagnosis, they found out that there was tubing that got cut underneath my car, and the damages came out to $12,000. Luckily, I had a warranty and I had insurance, and with the warranty and insurance, they took my car for 2 months. They had to ship some of the products from Germany because it's a German car. And I waited 2 months without a car, driving some, rental car, and I still had to pay my car payments. Not only that, because I went through insurance, it was still on my insurance report. This was my first time dealing with an expensive car issue, even though I had the right type of insurance in place. It was frustrating. The second issue was driving my Ferrari 488 Spider. It's a 2017 Ferrari. It only had 5,000 miles on it. It's not like I was buying a car that had been driven to the ground. When I left Equinox one day driving this car, nothing was wrong with the car. Next thing you know, it's smoking. And when I say smoking, I'm talking about I thought the car was going to catch on fire. I pulled over, I got out, and I literally started running away from the car. I've seen a lot of movies, and I thought a situation like that was about to happen to me. Found out something popped, some gasket popped. I'm not a car enthusiast. They told me it was some damages. Next thing you know, my car is going back to the dealership for repairs and maintenance. I left it to go on a vacation for 30 days. I came back, they hadn't even started working on the car. You can imagine my frustration. I ended up leaving my Ferrari 488 there and bought an Aventador SV instead. Like, I literally was so frustrated with just waiting for my Ferrari that I went to the dealership and started looking at other cars and just bought a new super supercar. That being said, guys, these are some of the expensive, inevitable situations that are going to happen when you decide to go into luxury cars. Some people are tempted to buy them before they can properly afford them. And like most cars, they do tend to depreciate in value. However, if you can use them to create new business opportunities or make social media content with them, then they can actually be a good investment for you. Here are some of the tax benefits of owning luxury vehicles. Business owners can use code section 179 and bonus depreciation to write off a large portion of their vehicle cost in their first year. Not all vehicles qualify. However, for example, if you want to receive an optimal deduction, your vehicle must be over 6,000 pounds in gross vehicle weight rating. Also, you must use the vehicle for business at least 50% of the time. Business owners can also write off the expenses associated with the business use of their vehicles. You can do this using the standard mileage method, which allows you to deduct a certain amount per business mile you drive, which in 2025 is 70 cents per mile, or you can use the actual expense method, which involves deducting the actual expenses of your vehicle in proportion to your business use of the vehicle. Okay, now let's talk about real estate. Luxury cars are super easy to talk about. Real estate a little bit more complex. For a lot of people, once they reach a certain level of success, they start to ask themselves a few questions like, how do I protect this wealth? How do I reduce my tax bill? How do I generate passive income from the wealth that I have accumulated? How do I pass on the most amount of wealth possible to my children? These things start to come up as you build your wealth, and I get it. Many of these people end up turning to real estate. I myself am included in this group. I first started investing in real estate when I was 27 years old. I bought my first rental property in Florida. It was a single family home that I now utilize as a short-term rental. I own 15 properties now. I absolutely love real estate investing, and I plan to do much more of it. Here are the pros and cons of real estate investing. Real estate can generate consistent cash flow when done correctly, unlike luxury vehicles. Real estate tends to appreciate in value over time, unlike luxury vehicles, meaning your investment properties could be worth significantly more in the future compared to the prices at the time that you buy them. You can leverage the power of debt, other people's money, aka OPM. Real estate debt is a form of good debt. Good debt is debt on an asset that appreciates in value over time or helps you make more money. Bad debt is debt on an asset that depreciates in value over time and takes away money, aka cars. Being able to use debt for real estate investments allows you to put a small amount of money down, usually around 20%, and buy properties that you may otherwise thus struggle to afford. But once you own the properties and rent them out, you can benefit from the cash flow and appreciation. Once you build up enough equity, you can also use the cash out refinance to access some of that equity in your property and use it to buy more real estate. Therefore, real estate investing is highly scalable as well. Now, here are the cons of real estate investing. That 20% down payment I was talking about, it can be a difficult barrier to enter real estate. Some buildings can require substantial repairs. Real estate is not liquid like stocks, bonds, crypto, and it can take time to sell them when you're ready to sell. But let me explain to you the beautiful tax benefits of real estate. For example, you can write off depreciation for the full value of the building, even though properties tend to appreciate in America. You can accelerate the time period in which you write off the depreciation by using a cost segregation study. You can also write off other expenses with real estate: the repairs, the maintenance, the insurance, the property management fees, the mortgage interest, literally almost anything you spend on the property. You can use real estate losses to offset W-2, 1099 income. You can use certain strategies such as the short-term rental strategy or real estate professional strategy to make it active. This is one of the most important tax benefits of real estate. This is because it means you can offset your active W-2 or 1099 income. If you're somebody that wants to be able to do this, you have to understand the rules. Don't underestimate the power of this tax strategy. It is one of the most powerful tax strategies out there when it comes to reducing your overall tax bill. So, if you want to learn more about this strategy, check out this video right here, and you can purchase our ebook using the link below in the description. Let's start off by comparing the investments now. Let's say that you had $150,000 and you were trying to choose between buying a brand new Mercedes G-Wagon, ooh, or investing in rental real estate. Ooh. If you took the money and bought the G-Wagon, the car would lose about 10% of its value as soon as you drive it off the lot. It's just business, okay? Bringing its value down to $135 immediately. After 5 years, the car would probably lose roughly 60% of its total value. Are you okay with that? This means that in 5 years, the G-Wagon would be worth about 60 grand because G-Wagons are over 6,000 pounds. You could potentially get a large Section 179 deduction for it, but you'll still be owing a substantial amount of money after 5 years, wouldn't you? If you put the money into real estate, however, this would be different. different. You could use the $150,000 as a 20% down payment to buy a $750,000 property. Properties in America tend to appreciate 3 to 5% annually, so after the first 5 years, your property would be worth somewhere around $900K. You would be generating tens of thousands of dollars with it every single year through rental payments, and you could deduct up to about 50% of the purchase price during the first 5 years using cost segregation studies, and if we get 100% bonus depreciation back. You could also use the losses from the property to offset active forms of income. This is where it gets really fun. But here's the bottom line. When it comes to luxury vehicles, when it comes to real estate investing, for most people, real estate investing is going to provide significantly more tax benefits and will always make for a better long-term investment. And this is just because real estate investments generate cash flow and prices tend to appreciate over time. Luxury vehicles can also be a good investment if you use them correctly to expand your audience or your customer base, for marketing, but remember, they do tend to depreciate in value and you don't get to benefit in the same way as real estate. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't reward yourself for your hard work with a gorgeous Ferrari, Porsche, Lamborghini once in a while like I did. Hey man, I'm all here about making sure that you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. Now, let me answer a question that came in from one of my subscribers. This question came in from Phil Alito on how to file business taxes for the first time. Make sure you check out that video if you haven't. Here's the question that came in from Phil. It says, Karlton, when do you need to pay quarterly taxes? Quarterly taxes are paid every single quarter, guys. April 15th, June 15th, and I personally do not like having to send so much money in quarterly tax payments. So what I do is I focus on strategic tax planning. If I can map out how much money I'm gonna make for the year and then back into how much I'm gonna pay in taxes and then start figuring out what strategies would make the most sense with my money I have, I can avoid having to write in such big, massive estimated tax payments or quarterly tax payments and instead reinvest those dollars back into things that end up producing tax savings. My name is Karlton Dennis. If you liked today's video, here's what I want you to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me one thing that you learned about today's video that was important for you. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers.